Welcome back, friends. You're just in time for the Johnny Bru Show.
What's going on, everybody? My name is John Brookhagen, host of the Johnny Bru Show, and we've got a special treat for you. As most of you know, and most of you should know, the Ccrp is having their big election, July 20th, this coming up Tuesday, and I have got the best guest slash co-host slash analyst to tell us what he thinks about each of the candidates as we go through them one by one. May I introduce the host of the PAA Podcast, Chris Dyer, also known as the Juggalo Patriot.
What's up, everybody?
So, some of my fans are really excited to have you on because...
Do you have a name for your fans? I call mine Daves.
Yeah, I know. Why?
Well, because we know a lot of Daves.
A lot of them happen to be named Dave.
There's a song from Kids in the Hall called These Are the Daves I Know.
I know that.
It's hilarious. And, my former co-host friend moved out of town named Dave. We've had Chairman Daves of, every variety. So we just decided that everybody
They're all
that watched
Daves.
our show are Daves. Yeah, you got to have a name for your fans.
All right, that is only the first inside joke secret you're going to get. I'm sure there's plenty of them. Juggalo Patriot.
Yeah. So that was in 2007 when I got involved. I just gotten out of the Army Reserves, and I started looking at candidates and everything, and I found this guy, Ron Paul, who was running for president. And I decided...
I know you're a big Ron Paul fan. That's how it started.
Get a haircut, shave. I was working in a restaurant, kind of had a little longer hair, and had to get online for the first time onto social media. So I needed a name, and I'm an ICP fan, Insane Clown Posse.
Right.
And I'm a Patriot. So it just became, Juggalo Patriot. I looked out there, nobody had it. I got the .com. I got all the tags. Every time a new thing comes up, I grab that one.
So the Insane Clown Posse has Juggalos.
Right, that's their
And
fans.
then the Juggalo Patriot has Daves.
The PAA Podcast has Dave's, yeah. I'm just the host. They could always switch it out. Rain Allen Woot, he jumped in there one day. So
I seen your dad co-host.
My dad will jump in there. Yeah, he just called right before I came over here, and I sent you the video.
But you made fun of me when my son was on.
Did I?
You sure did.
No, I sent you the SNL sketch.
Right.
Yeah, because I've always wanted to do one
really
with my
funny.
son, and then I saw that, and I was like, oh no, this is so on the button.
So now you're not going to have
So then
your
when I
son
said,
on.
never. No, he shut me down. He was like, that is the G word. And I was like, yes, sir.
My son was excited.
Well, good.
He came on in season 1, and he came back for the summer, and he's like, can I do it again? I'm like, yeah, sure. Which segment do you want to do? And I showed him the 4 subjects I was going to do that. He's like, can I do all 4?
Nice.
I was like, go for it.
So he's in Arkansas?
He lives in Arkansas,
I
10 months here, 2 months.
I noticed the accent. So
Don't say that.
What do you mean? It's like Dina Titus, restaurant. Everybody's going to get $100 and go to a restaurant. I'm like, how long have you lived in Nevada? She's terrible.
Well, do you think I have an accent? I've been here 22 years.
Yeah, you have an accent?
Besides when I say Nevada?
Yeah, I mean, you bring it with you or you don't. My wife's from Brooklyn, so I, sometimes slip into a little Brooklynese that I hear around the house.
Does your wife laugh through her teeth?
No.
That's how Brooklyn men, especially from Bensonhurst.
All right.
We're getting way off topic.
That's fine.
Holy cow. No.
As I like to say, I digest.
My whole point was, when you interrupted me, was that my fans were excited because they say you've really got some interesting things to say.
Yeah.
But you're so boring.
Oh, yeah. I'm very laconic. No, what was the word? I can't remember.
Lethargic?
No. But yeah, I just...
Go ahead.
I got a certain cadence when I do my show. Yeah, I mean, if people don't like it, they can
So
piss
they
off.
thought I would keep you going.
I got a whole list of people that comment on my stuff and tell me they hate it. It's great. I'm like, this is the only interactions I get.
Right, those are your 5 fans.
It's not for these people. It's for my kids, my grandkids. It's for me.
It's like a diary.
I'm a failed actor. Now I get every week. I look forward to my show. You know what I mean?
Just acting? I failed at a lot of stuff.
Well, lots of things, but this particular thing focuses on the things that I learned as an actor in New York and things that I've always wanted to do as a creative. And I grind for 5 days a week. I go to college, and this is my treat. I get to do a TV show. Right. And if you don't like it, thanks for watching.
Well, and that's the same with me. People are like, oh, you need to grow, you need to get sponsors, and I say, if I know, which I do know now, that 10 people will tune in every week to hear what I have to say, I will gladly do this for the rest of my life.
I get 3 people going live, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And I give out a link to people. PAAlive.us is a link that I own. You've called in. Ken Minster has called in. I put the link to the show, to the Zoom show. Anybody could call in at any time during the live show. And I usually do it at Saturdays at 6 p.m.
I saw you had Sarah on the other day.
Yeah.
You know, I was mad because I was part of the Gafooled You stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I met her. I thought, oh, you know, this is some campaign manager for Republicans, whatever. Then she came on the show and she was upset that people were putting transphobic things when the, I think it was the girl was running, the Rachel Levine, Dr. Levine was running.
Yeah.
And people said some off-color things and she was like all upset. And I said, what are you upset about? And I saw it was a couple off-color things, but I didn't understand why she was so upset. A couple weeks later, she started selling the I'm a, you know, spy and stuff.
Yeah, everybody does that. Every cycle we have the spies. Like we were the spies in 2007. We came in, we cut our hair, and we put on ties and suits, and we walked in and we pretended that we were there for all the same things. But we slowly took over, took leadership, and a lot of us have still stayed, but we were spies. We were libertarian spies, right?
And that was the pretext to the beginning of the end of the Ccrp?
No, it happens. It cycles around. It always happens. There's a group that came in behind us, and they said, you jerks aren't doing enough. It was the Glenn Beck and the 912 people.
All right.
You jerks aren't doing anything. Then they took it from us. It's another group tried to come in, these PVs. They were well organized, but they screwed the pooch. They put people that had bad backgrounds at the top of the thing, and they blew it. But certain groups, like the Glenn Beck 912 people, when they showed up, the Tea Party.
Right.
These people showed up with legitimate people in charge that organized them.
And this was 2012.
Several cycles, 2014. It's every presidential cycle. There's like a big wave of people that come in with some personality. You get your Huckabees and your, McCain's and Ron Paul's in 07. And every cycle brings these worshipers of these people, and when they get organized and they're smart, they can take over the party. If you had 200 people that would do what you asked them to do, you could take over. It's easy.
Well, and that seems like what they were trying to do with the Rudy Clay and the Matt Anthony ticket. I haven't heard anything from the camp since.
It disappeared. Yeah. I heard Sarah mentioned, I think, when she was on, that somebody was trying to get in contact with me, and I told her at Juggalo Patriot on Twitter. Well, pretty much everything, but just Twitter. It'll pop right up on my phone, so it's like a direct text. But they never got back to me, so I'm fine. I don't I don't do well at interviews. So
speaking of which, you could always reach me at the Johnny Bru Show at gmail.com, or you could always call 702-682-9983. So the reason I have you on is let's try not to take too long. Tell me a little bit about you. Where you grew up? Where?
I grew up in Virginia. My stepdad was in the Army, so I lived in Germany.
So you were a military brat?
I lived in Germany for 2.5 years.
Where in Germany?
Hanau.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was nice. Great. Yeah, I lived on a base called Fliegelhorst. Lived on the economy for a while. And I've been reminiscing lately. I had to do a paper on Germany in my college class. I've been listening to Rammstein.
I like Rammstein. We saw Rammstein.
Best. And and then it starts me thinking about like this 16-year-old German girl I used to talk to when I was there, and I'm like, oh man, I miss it so much.
Greta?
Like it'd never be the same. No, Sabina. So yeah.
Close. And then you graduated high school, and then what?
Yeah, I moved back to Virginia. I got a driver's license, graduated from high school, and joined the Navy. Right at 1990, right around the first Gulf War. So.
Well, that was before you had any clue that we would be going to war. It's not like you joined after.
No, if I'd been watching the news, when I went to boot camp, we actually started dropping bombs on Iraq. So things had been ramping up, but I didn't pay attention. I was an 18-year-old kid.
Right.
Just trying to keep my
nose clean. I'll join the military.
I just could stay in Martinsville, Virginia, and the furniture factories were closing down. Everything was going away. The textile mills. My dad said, you got to get out of here. So. You got to get as far away as I can. I joined the Navy.
That got you far.
Nope. I went down to Orlando and graduated from boot camp, came right back and served in D.C. for 2 years in the ceremonial guard. I did White House ceremonies, retirements, funerals at Arlington.
Really?
Yeah, it was really high-level stuff. So from there, I went into naval intelligence. Went to Navy Intelligence School and had to sign an extension. So I was actually in for 4 years and 10 months because I got my school. I had to have 2 years at the end.
Gotcha.
It's weird. I just tell people 5 years.
Right.
Yeah, but I was an intelligence specialist on the USS Enterprise, which was stuck in the shipyard. So then I volunteered to
In
go
D.C.?
No, in Newport News.
Oh.
So I volunteered to go on the very first cruise of the USS George Washington, the aircraft carrier. So I got my sea time, and then I came back, and the people on the Enterprise were...
You ever cross the equator?
No, we were
Oh.
supposed to, but because Saddam moved troops towards Kuwait and then turned them around, we got stuck there. So
Gotcha.
it screwed up our transit time. We missed the Tiger cruise. I could have had my dad on the ship with me. This clown, I'm glad we hung him, or somebody hung him, because
Someone hung him.
yeah, I mean, he really screwed it up. I could have gotten my going on to the equator.
I think that's
my-
why they hung him.
Yeah.
They wanted
Yep.
to see you get your, what do you have to drink, a whole bottle of rum or something when you cross
I
the
always
equator?
forget what this is called too. What is it called? Shellback. It's your shellback. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of rituals, and they've had to
I had
clean
a
it
couple
up.
of good friends in the Navy, so.
Yeah, you get a certificate. It's a big deal. And
All right, so then you
I
get
missed
out of the
out.
Navy,
Yeah, I got out of the Navy.
95-ish.
95, exactly. Yeah, I did the 40th anniversary of D-Day
I'm a
over
math
there.
guy.
It was amazing. I did some high level stuff there too, and then I got out and went to community college and studied acting
Where?
in Martinsville, Virginia,
Okay.
my little hometown.
You still didn't get
I
out.
was talking to the girls and hanging out for a year and
Right.
collecting that GI Bill and just
Right.
kicking it, working at the hardware store and going to school.
Right.
But we had a theater class and we went up to New York, and I was like, I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to give this thing a shot. So I did a couple of shows at the community college. We did Chicago
Right.
and Bleacher Bums, and I was Billy Flynn in Chicago, and I loved it.
You got the lead.
Oh man, and just the people, just the attention. I was
Right,
like, this
right,
is
right,
great,
right,
you know. So I was like, I could probably go up to New York and get some more of this. And there's pretty girls up there. There's a way better chance of me meeting a pretty girl in New York City than in
Than it is
Martinsville,
in-
Virginia.
right.
Because you're a numbers guy, right? So
Yeah.
do the math there.
It's easy.
Exactly. So I went up to New York all by myself. I had a couple of people that were lined up to go with me. They bailed, and I said, well, I
I'm
joined the
going.
Navy. I joined the Navy by myself. I can
Right.
do this by myself too. So slept in a hotel until I got a room. Lived with a dude for 2.5 years there in New York. Met my wife.
Where in New York?
I lived on 56th and 9th.
Oh, right in the Big
in,
Island.
Hell's Kitchen. Yeah, right there in the middle. And I worked on
And 56 and 9, I mean, you're right by Times Square. You're
Yeah,
right
yeah,
by
and
the
I worked on
park,
Times
you're
Square.
Right by
I worked on
everything.
50th and Broadway. So the hotel I worked at was like 6 blocks away. I walked there all the time, and then
And
yeah,
you got Grand Central Station. You got Penn
So-
Station. Not
so
too
easy
far.
to get around.
A little
My-
far.
My wife lived in Brooklyn at the time, so yeah, I just get on a train. She tell me which trains to
Which
take.
one?
and
The
where
one
to
of the
get off.
9?
Yeah, I think it was the one in the 9. Yeah, I can't remember. It's like Gravesend or something like that. It's probably not awesome anymore.
Oh no,
but-
it's the 2 of the 3. The one and the
Maybe.
9 go down to South Point Ferry, and then
Okay.
the 2 and the 3 go into Brooklyn.
I always screw it up. Yeah, as long as I don't say like Red Hook or something. I get it right. But yeah, after that.
So then you're in New York for what, 2 years?
Yeah, and I met her, and she had family out
You
here.
met a pretty girl.
Yeah, and
Bam!
typical
Mission accomplished.
Typical Italians. They've moved to Nevada.
Well, I knew she was either Italian or Jewish, because
Yeah.
that's all we got in New York.
There's a bunch that come to Nevada, as you did, around the same time I think we did. So that's this is where we settled, and then eventually I became politically active.
Well, slow down. So
Yeah.
you moved out here, and then what did you do?
I just worked, just grind.
Like
just,
whatever, waiter, busboy, bartender.
cat bus driver, garbage man. I've worked in several hotels. I might have been in 7 unions, I think. Like, it's
Really?
ridiculous.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I just jumped around wherever I could move up and try and jump from one lily pad to another. I'm always trying to
And then
come
it's
up.
about 2006 you started to get political?
Right after I got out of the Army, yeah, so 2006, 2007.
So you joined the reserves.
Oh, yeah, I joined the Army Reserves in 2000. And we went to war again. Oh, my God.
Maybe it's your fault.
I think so, right? So yeah, I stopped doing that. I'm not joining the military anymore. Yeah, that was easy. I just stayed in E4. And
What is that, like a once a month training and then a 2-week thing once a year or
1
something?
week in a month, 2 weeks a year, but they were deploying everybody because we were back at war again after 2001, after
So did you
September
go?
11. So what I did was just always stayed too busy to go to sergeant school, because everyone who had a clearance like I did, who went to sergeant school, ended up going to Gitmo or Abu Ghraib, because they need people to sit in on interrogations. Don't necessarily need the language speaker, but you have to have a second person in the room with a clearance. So I was like, I'm not cool with that. I was
Right.
starting to kind of wake up to certain things, and I was like, I don't want to go over there. I
Right.
really-
And
I
looking back now, a lot of those dudes got in trouble.
Yeah.
Or girls
Yeah.
holding the leash and stuff.
well, those weren't intel people. Those were
But
grunts.
they were on premise on site.
They were grunts, yeah. But I mean, they acted up. But yeah, I wasn't interested in doing that. So I just basically didn't get promoted and didn't get sent. And I stayed in E4 the whole time I was in the Army Reserve.
Right.
It was all good.
All good.
Yeah, my first sergeant actually asked me to stop telling the young soldiers some of the things that I was learning online. He said, I need you to stop some of this rhetoric. You're scaring the younger soldiers. And
Right, because remember when you joined the Navy, like you said, if you had been a little more astute, you would have known more stuff. But you're a 22-year-old kid, 20-year-old, 19, you're like, whatever.
Yeah.
So then towards
and I
the
got
end...
the internet now.
Right, which makes
I'm
everything a
watching
lot
stuff,
different.
And I'm going to these guys, and they're going to college and going to reserves, and I'm telling them, hey, something else is going on here, guys. Yeah.
What about, so then you're nearing the end of the reserves, and then you leave the reserves. What made you political? I mean, you're learning some stuff?
Yeah, and I was always a libertarian. I was always reading stuff. But, yeah, I worked in a restaurant. We were getting taxed on our tips and everything. It's sort of things that, like, I started to hear, like, Ron Paul saying, it's like...
Don't add up. Don't make sense.
No, yeah, but he was a libertarian who, switched to Republicans. So I'm like, this guy is my guy. So I'm just going to follow him in. And, the first time I showed up at something, there were people that were already organized, nerds, political nerds that know Robert's Rules of Order, that knew all the secrets. They laid it out for me. What are you here to do? I said, I'm here to do whatever I'm supposed to do. And they said, okay, you got to go to this county meeting. You got to join this meeting. You got to become a member. From there, you'll become a member of the state. From there, you'll become a delegate. From there, you'll vote for who goes to the, I'm sorry, I'm tapping the table, but who goes to the national convention.
Right.
And I was like, I'm
Word.
in. And I got into the national convention.
And they were super organized. Like you say, hey, I'd like to sign up.
So we went up through these convention processes, and when we went to Reno, there's actually a full video on my channel, PAA Podcast, talking about the 2008 RNC in Reno, where the Ron Paul people had gamed the system so well that we had parliamentary procedure and the numbers on our side. They have 3 elections for at the time there were 3 congressional districts, and they had 3 at-large elections, 2 people from each one. And in CD1, my district, they picked, the 3 of us were Danny Tarkanian, myself, and John Ensign, governor.
Yeah, that's some company.
And I was excited, and I called my dad, and I said, you're not going to believe this. Like, they picked me as an at-large delegate. I'm in. I'm going to Minnesota. Like, my great-granddad went to San Francisco in '64 for Barry Goldwater.
For the convention.
Yeah, and I'm following up on the legacy. You know what I mean? This is great.
Wow.
So I was excited, and then something was going on in the room, and I turned around, and they were turning the lights off, and people were standing up and throwing tantrums. What's going on? And this was the first time that I realized that, like, I had put an ad for my campaign in the program and, handed it to the state chair, Sue Loudon, and, with a smile on my face, because my name was going to be in the program of the thing, and,
Right.
pay her to do it, and I was running for Congress, and it was a big deal. I was really taking it seriously, and I asked somebody what happened, and they said, well, the Ron Paul people were winning all the elections, so they shut it down. And they put the ballots in a safe in the hotel, and they said that we don't have the room anymore. We're waving money in the air so that the casino will know we do have the money to extend the room. We will gladly pay to extend the room and finish this.
Right.
But no, lock it up, shut it down. And I was like, I was crestfallen. I trusted this woman and this organization to do the right thing. Ron had come and spoken that day. It was very exciting.
Right.
And they just ripped it right out from under us. And then I got the notification. We held a rump convention. We went back to Reno and we did it again. And she said that was illegal and that she was going to need a bunch of money for security because Ron Paul people were threatening to disrupt the next iteration of the convention.
Sounds familiar.
Therefore, there will be no state convention and we will select the delegates. And they took away my delegate status, even though I'd already been elected at large. They took away they took away all the delegate status. It was a big fight, a big legal fight. And then we got to Minnesota.
Your bitterness is starting to make sense. Continue.
Yeah. Well, that's where I fractured, you know what I mean? That's where the Juggalo Patriot happened because I wrote a song called Going to Reno Again. Again, you can Google that.
Don't blow up the internet, guys.
It's a good one. But that's where somebody called me and they said, what are you, like a fifth column? And I had to quickly Google what a fifth column is. And then I said, no, but, I got burned. And I got in the shower and it all came out. And I grabbed a friend with a guitar and we laid it down, and you guys can kiss it.
Right.
And I've had it with you people. But I promised this old gynecologist that I was going to keep showing up to meetings. So you're going to have to deal with me forever.
And you're proving you're keeping your promise.
Yeah. There's a thing, persistence, where when they hunt a lion in the African jungle, they walk after the lion gets up and runs away. And they just continue to walk, and the lion gets up and runs away, and eventually the lion can't get up and run away anymore. He's tired.
Right.
And they've persisted, and they've hunted him down, So
and patience.
I mean, there's people like we were going to talk about Eddie Hamilton, who, he's kind of a joke to people. He runs all the time. He's probably run more than anybody else in the state.
When's the first time you remember him running?
He ran in my primary in 2008 for CD1.
And probably before that even?
Yeah, I think so. I came in third on that one, and I beat him. So I always have that. I'm proud to say that. I don't usually throw the word proud around a lot, but since that's a really crappy
Not in
thing.
2021.
That's a crappy thing to be proud of. So yeah, I'll say I'm proud that I beat Eddie Hamilton in a packed primary. I have videos of that too, dude. I've been videotaping this stuff since I got there.
Since before everybody was videotaping everything.
Much stuff. I have so much content. Yeah, there's so much history at this. I have videos of me getting shut down at a meeting for videotaping.
I've heard this story.
Richard Scotty, when he was the chair, shut me down though. This was back in 2009, 2010. It's ridiculous how many times these people have said you can't record, and I'm like, it's a public meeting, Broham.
Right.
We're elected officials.
Right.
We're allowed to record unless you go into executive session. There's a whole procedure.
Right. There is a way to shut down recording, to go into a private session, but
or we can turn off the lights and shut the doors and kick everybody out of the room.
And that seems to happen more than I would expect.
Yeah. So yeah, that's.
Is it fixable?
No.
I'm going around. We're gonna watch the interviews with everybody. I keep rah-rahing the whole conservative movement. I know you know what I've been doing. Am I a pipe dreaming? Is this just gonna be a cluster?
Yeah. I've run for office 4 times, and I've been around for 14 years, and I don't know why serious people run for office, especially after what happened in this election. It's absurd that serious people run for office right now, knowing that there's the possibility it could just be stolen from them.
Right.
They continue to show up every 2 years.
Thanks for the plug.
There's a whole
Tomorrow morning, Alita Benson's going to be on the Johnny Bru Show. We're going to be talking about everything from Georgia, Arizona, and most importantly, we'll be talking about Nevada.
There's a bunch of turds in the party bowl that circle around, and some of them come back around, most of them disappear. There's a whole bunch of people that show up, and they're going to do everything and stick around, and they don't. And then you'll get Patricia Farley. She keeps coming up, and I keep seeing her name and stuff. She donated to that Ralston article about Carrie Buck, but she also donated to Carrie Buck. So I'm like, how does this turd just keep coming around? She was one of those tax-raising senators who then became an independent.
Really?
When she was a Republican. Roberson brought her in. It's crazy. Patricia Farley, yeah, if you could get her, she's been on Sam Shad's show. You'd have a field day with her. She's bizarre. But
I know her.
You do know her?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. She was part of that crew, Becky Harris and Roberson, those jerks that raised, the biggest tax increase ever. I had gone out of town and just come back, and everybody's kissing Mike's butt back in 2017. I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, oh yeah, we're all cool now. I'm like, no, we're not. He brought in all these people and raised all the taxes. That's our thing. Less taxes,
right? Less
government, personal responsibility.
Yeah, you keep screwing up my thing.
What do you mean? That's what you have one.
Small government domestically, America first internationally,
sure,
and a love for our founding documents.
Yeah. But when I joined the Republican Party, those 3 tenets
were
what they hammered. And I was like, this sounds tasty. I'm in.
Right.
And
low taxes.
All I hear is people that want to raise taxes. They want to take away your personal responsibility. When I got there, weed was illegal here. They had legalized medical, but they didn't have dispensaries. People were getting hurt, killed, opening illegal dispensaries out here. IRS was on their butts. Sheriff was on their butts. It was sick. So in 2010, I formed a Nevada normal chapter, Las Vegas normal chapter. There've been several, because stoners suck at organizing and showing up to things. It basically would turn into a meeting with 10 or 15 of us, it's whatever. But it was fun because I had run for office in 2008, so in 2010 to run an organization and remain political, but for a cause.
Right.
And I spoke to people like Joe Heck. We call him Dr. Senator or Dr. Senator General Joe Heck. He has so many titles. But the first time I met him, he was a state senator. And I had just gotten involved. And I walked up to him and I said, you're at a meeting. After a meeting, I was scared to death. This guy's a state senator. Oh, my God.
Right.
So these people talking to him, and I'm going to ask him something in front of them, right? And I go, you're a doctor. Do you believe that cannabis is medicine? And he said, no, marijuana is not medicine. And I just walked away. And I was like, I have to fight these people. I can't just leave.
Well, because this is an educated dude.
He's a doctor.
Right.
And he's denying the science. And I knew right away, he's beholden to big pharma. He's beholden to the defense. To big defense. He's a doctor and a general. So he's owned. You know what I mean?
Right.
He served in the reserves. He's a
Right, so you
battle
gotta just
medic.
follow the playbook.
Who pays the guy? You know what I mean? On and off the books. So I knew right away. I was like, I know I'm tilting at windmills, and it's absurd. So I got to have fun with it. But
Right.
I got to go after these people.
All right. Well, I'm gonna pretend that we could come together because
Okay.
that's what I'm working on. You're gonna see in the interviews I talk to the people. I heard you were there, and then you jet right before I got there.
Listen, the Ccrcc has one
This
thing.
question number one. No.
No, okay.
What is the difference between the Ccrp and the Ccrcc? I don't understand.
So it's just semantics legally, I think, that how they're registered and everything like that. But the Ccrcc as us, as a body, the Ccrp is, I don't know, some other vague sort of title. But the whole purpose of that thing is to hold meetings and establish what we stand for, our plank and platform and things like that. But also for smart candidates to send their proxies to those meetings to recruit enthusiastic volunteers that make phone calls and knock on doors. Candidates shouldn't show up. It's drama. It's nerd stuff. It's like D&D. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you enjoy D&D, if you enjoy parliamentary
and Dragons.
procedure, you're going to love it. If you're a nerd for this sort of thing, you're going to love it. People show up and they go, I just want to hear a candidate speak. That's not what we do.
Right.
Sorry. We'll do it at the end when there's time. But what we're here to do is run a meeting, and it usually goes pretty quick when everybody is simpatico. So, you know, having a chairman that gets along with the state would be great and not good for my business.
All right, so let's get into this right here. We have 4 candidates.
Yeah.
All right.
Do we, or do we have more? I haven't heard any word.
4 that I know of.
Okay, because Ed Gonzalez is on top of it. He hasn't gotten back to me that he received I'm running for trustee in District B.
Right.
But as far as I know, yeah, you're right. 4 candidates that
4
have
that I
announced.
know of. Right. And I'm guessing the quasi-favorite would be Carrie Buck because she's got the backing of the current trustees.
Got in first.
And she was
got
the
the
first to
PAA
announce.
endorsement, which I have yet to rescind. I've actually doubled down on my endorsement.
Oh, you're going to end the show with your endorsement?
No, we did this weeks ago when she originally did our show, and now my dad is a Jesse Law guy, and I will not back down. I'm digging my heels in with Carrie Buck. I'm very attracted
And
to
your
her.
dad likes Jesse Law.
Yeah, my dad's a Jesse Law guy. So.
But you're Carrie Buck.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, she was there first, so yeah, she's got the advantage. She got started first.
Right. She's got the backing of the current board.
And now she's gone on lockdown. She hasn't had an appearance that anyone can mention. Jesse Law is on like a world tour. He's in Mesquite, he's
Carrie
in
Buck
Laughlin.
last night. She was there 2 nights ago. I
Yeah.
got her. We did an interview.
She showed up late at the thing, and you know, I mean, like, where's she been?
I wasn't going to tell anybody you were late, Carrie.
But yeah, I mean, I went there and had dinner. I couldn't get in.
Neither could I.
Yeah, town hall thing was so packed. But then Jim Small found out that I couldn't get in because Eddie Hamilton went and told him after I said not to.
And the same thing happened for me.
Yeah.
Eddie Kitt was outside being Eddie Hamilton, and then he talked to Jim Small. Jim Small came outside, and I wasn't like dying to go in. I just wanted to get some sound for our show.
Yeah.
And so I got what I wanted. I said, no, thank you very much. We got a little bit of stuff.
I wanted a lovely dinner with my wife and to watch these nerds walk into
How do
the
you get
nerd
your wife
convention.
to go with you? She won't come with me.
Yeah,
It has
well,
anything to do
normally
with
she won't,
politics.
but I sold it to her as not a political thing.
Oh, did she know that the thing was
I told her, yeah, but she sat with her
Oh,
back.
by the way, everybody's in the other room.
She sat with her back to the door, and I just said, "Oh, there's that nerd," and I'd give her, a whole story about, this jerk. So
And that's why I started the Johnny Bru Show. Because I want to put on my Facebook pictures of my son, pictures of Infinity, pictures of my wife. But I'm really all about these politics. I'm scared for our country, literally. Literally.
You get up at 50,000 feet and start talking about like big issues. I try and stay away from that stuff and stay right down here over the trees.
I know you make fun of that too.
No, everybody does it. Ian Bain does it. Everybody's got their audience that wants to hear their stuff.
Ian Bain is pretty good about sticking with the no mask stuff. I mean, he tries really hard.
Yeah, but he talks
and
about
he's
some
got
national
a voice.
stuff too. He does.
I wish
right?
I had his voice.
Yeah, I hate when people like him go, "I'm out of time," and I'm like, "No, you're not, dude. You have the internet. We have infinity time, bro.
Look,
we have
ever seen the
forever."
Johnny Bru Show? I go, look at my wife's face. She knows. I go.
I looked at my clock before and been like, "Oh, hour and 45."
Right, this is supposed to be a half an hour.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten started, and we're already over time. Look at the look I'm getting from our beautiful producer.
So 4 candidates. Carrie's supposed to be in
Carrie has
front.
the favorite.
Jesse's getting all the endorsements. Dave Crete can bite my bag. He stood me up for the show. He can go to hell. He sent me a picture from the baseball
Right,
game.
I was watching the episode.
But yeah, nobody's there, this jerk. It would have been a great thing to say, hey.
Right, he could have turned around, had the baseball field in the background, like I got the strip in the background.
What a loser. Yeah, so, I mean, like, I don't know why he's doing it. Somebody put him up to it. He said, oh, man, the things I could tell you about this when I texted him, but now he's incommunicado.
Well, because he didn't like your sarcasm.
I don't care. I mean, you know what he didn't like is that he was.
You called him out.
He used to do. No, I called him out at the state meeting because he used to do a podcast, and I enjoy watching local stuff. Jesse Turner, anybody local. You, Michelle Mortensen, I love that stuff, right? And he was putting out content. He was putting out a real estate hour and a political hour, and he was talking about the Federalist Papers all the time. It was so nerdy, and I ate it up, man. It worked. I'd listen to it, and then it goes away. So I see him. I go, "What happened, dude? What happened to the show?" And he goes, oh, my producer came to me. He wants $350 an episode. And I do 2 episodes with the guy. I said, are you kidding me? Are you serious, bro? Like,
get a web. Do you want a webcam?
Yeah, I had to let him in on the secret about my show. I just have one producer, and I don't pay him. I'm not sure how it works. I signed up with the Podcast Producers Guild, and bada bing, bada boom, I got a kid.
Right. I got married.
There you go. That's what I mean. Yeah, I mean, everybody's got. My wife won't do any podcast stuff with me, so I had to,
She's perfect because she could care less.
I had to go to the deep web, and it was dark there for a while. Those days at Hawk's Gym, I tried to keep a smile on my face, but it's not cool. It's not my thing. You know what I mean? So it was weird. But yeah, those. I wonder who they've got for slates because I know Jesse's got a slate. I don't know who this vice chairman guy is that he's got, but everybody else on his slate. Do you have his slate?
No.
Let me pull it up. Go to his website.
Well, we're going to go in order. Oh, and Jesse is the first one we're going to cover.
Okay.
So good. So get up Jesse's information. While you're getting up Jesse's information, and you haven't heard these interviews yet, so you're going to have to pay attention to what he says because I'm going to ask you for your analysis.
Okay.
So first up, we're going to play the first half of this tape. It's going to be me and Jesse Law outside of Saffron on Wednesday, July something. And this is me and Jesse Law. Ready? Go. What's going on, everybody? This is John Brookhagen with the Johnny Bru Show. I'm here with Eddie Hamilton and Jesse Law, both running for the Ccrp chairman position. They're all here. Carrie Buck is as well as David Crete, and they're all going to basically state their case. It's not going to be a debate, as some people have been trying to say. So we're going to be covering this event, and we're going to be covering the election coming up next week. I'm also going to be having Chris Dyer from the PAA Podcast joining me this weekend to talk about it. Is there anything you want to tell my listeners about why you might be the best person for the Ccrp chairman?
Sure. First of all, the Ccrp needs to be an inclusive and open organization. I want to grow this thing to over 1,500 members 1 year from today. And in doing that, we actually are exercising our best quality as a grassroots organization. I want to get these guys trained. They've been dedicated. They want to participate in our election process with meaning. And I feel like if we train them and we put that on a regular basis with metrics and performance in their neighborhood, this will actually provide purpose for their participation. I think we can actually have a party that's better, bigger, and badder than anything we've had for 20 years.
And then, should you win, what would your first communication with, say, Carrie Ann or Eddie, or how would you be looking to unite with the people that have been kind of cat and dog fighting lately?
Well, I can tell you I've run a very respectful campaign. I've not said word one in terms of negativity, and I'm going to remain that way. I think if we're going to try and unite, we need to actually be dignified now. And so that's a promise I've made that it's going to be in the future, and it's the behavior I have now. The thing I'll say is, we want to beat Democrats. If that's what you want to, we want you there, but we absolutely do want their leadership, their ideas, and their expertise with us.
So you would say Carrie Ann would be a big part of your team should you be leading the team? Would you be hoping that she would be a big part of your team?
I would absolutely welcome her, yes.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Good luck.
You got it.
So Ed,
You actually called him David, didn't you? I think you just called him David.
I don't think so.
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, I hope so. Now, people besides me and you are watching on YouTube. They could just double click back and see if I said that.
Yeah, I'll go back and watch it myself. Yeah, if I'm tripping, then somebody can let me know. I'll go see a doctor because,
but
something's wrong with
I don't know if it's a lip service, but he did have some good things to say. First of all, he was referencing, like you said, when you walked up, he wants people to be like, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this, and that way you get some personal satisfaction from your participation.
Sounds like a grown-up, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
talking about no mudslinging, which I could respect a lot. That's one of the things that drives me the most nuts is when we start mudslinging at each other, and then the Democrats don't even have to do any research.
Yeah,
They just watch the primaries.
We're not used to having adults run the party, and yeah, that's a problem. They spend all the money, they steal all the money. There's all this information from Alita about where they've pissed away the money, and
Right.
they do shady stuff, like when they were selling the fake merch and continuing to allow it and promote it. Somebody like Jesse is a rational, reasonable person, and I don't think he's going to allow that kind of stuff. So I think there's people within the party that have always been there. They've always accused me of trying to tear the party down. They're tearing the party down. They're the kind of people that are the sociopaths that say, "Oh, I'm the kind of guy that should run this party," even though they've been picked up for prostitution a couple of times.
Right.
That's
well, let's get back to
sociopathic.
Jesse Law.
Yeah, so Jesse's an adult. Some of the criticism about him is that they're saying, now we're hearing a rumor that they may remove his membership status because of something. They're saying that he used somebody's social security number to gain information.
Didn't he work with the Trump organization? I mean, literally in the White House?
Yeah, I believe so, up to the point where he would have a clearance where the FBI would find something like that. I know that the word on the street when the Dave McKeon information came out was that Jesse retrieved it. There's a way that you go to a courthouse, you drive there and you present yourself and you ask for these records and then you get them and somebody scans them and puts them online.
Right.
And that's how it happened, as far as I know. If there was any kind of shenanigans, I've never heard anything about it. I don't know Jesse that well. He wouldn't tell me if he did something like that. So
Right.
Doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would, revel in something like that. So if they can prove it, they should prove it. If not, they should shut their pie holes.
And my whole point is, I mean, and this has been the topic of conversation, is don't we want as many people there? I mean, of course we don't want murderers or rapists, but,
if they're
David
registered,
Zajac, if you get picked up for a little prostitution beef 8 years ago, it shouldn't disband you from the party for the rest of your life. And
it
if
makes
go
you a
to
bad
party with a Proud
conservative,
Boy.
because at the time, Craigslist was a thing.
No.
So if you're going out and picking up street prostitutes, you're doing a dangerous activity. And it's unsafe. I mean, it's unsafe for you and the prostitute.
Right, it's a horrible
stupid.
decision.
And it was expensive, the amount of money that he was involved with. So all of that, I don't hate prostitutes. I think they're awesome. And I think that, Johns can, like when it's legal and it's regulated, then everybody's safe, right?
Right.
But this guy, he's got to run out and do it in the streets. So it's all these people, though. There's records of some dude tooling on his wife and kids.
All right.
And he thinks he's good enough to run for this thing.
No, and I understand the whole moral. I'm talking about membership. I mean, if you want to go,
that's the thing is they're
doors-
members. They're members, and they're allowed to be members. Everybody can be a member if you have a voting right. If you have a voting right, you're allowed to be a member.
Which means you're not a felon and you're
That's it.
registered.
What we did during the Ron Paul thing, we vetted people ourselves. We would have meetings outside of the Central Committee and the party, and we would tell people, you're a little bit too much. Maybe you don't come to those meetings anymore. Maybe your face turning red and you standing up and yelling and having to be asked to leave all the time is distracting from what we're trying to do. We weed those people out of our own group. And I think the PBs would have done that. I think they either would have dissolved or they would have weeded out the jerk-offs in their group. But they weren't given time to do it. They were told you can't come in. So there's people that legitimately didn't realize that they were associated with this group who came in with that group because they were really good at organizing.
Well, and I was friends with them. I didn't know they were
Right.
Proud Boys. I mean, we went to a couple events, like the Byron Brooks event.
Yeah.
I met Katie Williams. I met Mac Miller.
Right.
I met Matt Anthony. And, and we all had a good time. We were patriots. We were talking about all this stuff. I didn't even realize till months later when I started the podcast that they're saying that all these guys are Proud Boy adjacent,
Yeah.
went to a party with and then I realized the big party everybody's talking about is the party I was at.
Yeah.
There was just a bunch of patriots drinking beers and with some live music and a couple of campaign speeches.
There's some of us that when we see a hot microphone, we can't resist, right? I mean, that's right. I mean, it's
That's all I
there,
wanted
and
to do
somebody
is
says
speak.
you could host or you could do whatever. I always wanted to be a stand-up comic or get up there and chop
Right.
it up. I get nervous. It's great. You know what I mean? The adrenaline dump and
And then
everything.
Mac Miller with the Republican Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
He asked me to MC it. I was
Yeah.
thrilled.
You
Give me
could've-
a microphone, let me speak.
If you were associated with Mac at all, you might have could have Googled him. There's a lot of criticism of him. I don't know the guy myself.
Well, I've talked to, there's this one gentleman, Richard Carrion.
Yeah,
he
him and his
told
wife
me
are
the
really-
whole
yeah.
Mac Miller story. And listen,
Mac's got a story, they got a story, right? And yeah,
right,
it just
and when
depends on who you
everybody
believe.
tells
Yeah.
me these things,
Yeah.
it puts up my alarm. But I judge people on what I know
Yeah.
and what I observe. Mac Miller, has always been super friendly, super patriotic. He sometimes sounds like a used car salesman. Sometimes he looks like he's got a couple of schemes going. But that puts up my radar. That doesn't make me hate him or ban him or badmouth him or anything else.
He's a member. He's a voting member. It doesn't matter what he did in the military, but he shouldn't run for office with that kind of scandal in his back pocket. It's ridiculous. The people with the most dirt are the ones that seem to want to jump in the spotlight.
What attracts that, right?
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
some sort of thing.
We gotta keep moving. You
Yeah.
got Jesse Law's slate.
Jesse Law Vice Chairman Michael Steigman. I don't know that guy. He doesn't have a link on Facebook. He's not on Facebook. Sally Minster, Secretary. She's been involved since
That's
the Glenn
Ken
Beck
Minster's sister.
mom. Yeah.
Ken Minster's mom.
Yeah.
Got you.
Sally. She's been involved for a very long time. She'd make a great secretary. Treasurer Christine DeCourt. Somehow she has a professional liability or some sort of obligation that makes her great for being treasurer. Jesse Law could explain it better. He explained that somehow she's bound by some sort of NRS or something like that, so she can't. There'll be no shenanigans with her. Community Relations Director Natalie Roach. I don't know Natalie that well. I see her a lot online.
Yeah, me too. That's it.
I sat next to her at Jesse's event, and I was like, okay, she's a real
That was
person.
yesterday?
It was like Monday, I think.
Okay, the day before that.
Yeah, the one at Satay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was nice too. Precinct Director Stephen Esch. Stephen Esch worked for Michelle Fiore, I believe. He does not have a Facebook link either. This is weird. Probably got rid of it because he worked for Fiore. But he's a smart dude, precinct director. He's been in the game for a very long time. And political director Patrick Casal, of course. Pat is on AM radio. He does what we do, but not as good because he has to run commercials and he only gets to do it when somebody invites him to.
I heard his show for the first time when he had Jesse on.
Yeah.
And I listened to them to talk. But obviously,
He stays above the trees and then goes into heavy stuff too. He wanted me to call in one time, and then it became about like what to do about the police and insure. I told him, I said, there's a movement to insure the police, but I didn't want to talk about that crap, but I had to.
Right, and that's not your expertise.
It's something that I've actually read a lot about, so I was able to not sound like a moron.
Right.
I was stoked, but I wasn't stoked that he didn't want to talk to me about Clark County stuff like you're doing. So he was, Pat will be a fine political director.
So
he'll be somebody who will encourage people to. Political director needs to be somebody that can, unfortunately, dig into their own pocket or use the party's resources to get a candidate in every race. We need the data. You're a data guy, right? We're about to change the lines. The borders are going to change, and we need a candidate in every race to have a base number of how many people.
At least to know where we're coming from, because like Richard McLean was on, he says, why invest anything, any time, any money in a race you cannot win?
Data. We need data. So to spend
maybe it's better than we thought.
The $100 or the $150 to get the numbers once we draw the new lines to find out how many base Republicans we have in that district.
Right, I mean,
it's
how
just
many millions of dollars
You don't have to
spent.
campaign. Zero campaign. That'd actually be preferable if they didn't campaign.
So that way, that's the bottom basement. That's what you're going to get.
A name on the ballot.
If that's
with an R beside it.
21%, then that's great. We know we're starting there.
Those are numbers, right? We love numbers, right? So there. I mean, that's all the political director needs to do is find people to run in those seats. Find somebody to pay for their entry fee if they can't themselves.
And that's that.
That's it. Period.
All right. So it sounds like while you're not endorsing Jesse Law, you're not against him either. You like him.
No,
you like his professionalism.
Yeah,
you like
he's a grown-up.
Slate, most
That's no
of the
good
slate.
for me. That's no good for me. I like drama. I like the stupidity. So while Jesse is a great guy,
so Jesse would be better for me than for you. Because I'm looking for the whole unity thing.
Correct. Yeah, somebody that's going to work with the state party and get Republicans elected and do the right thing. I'm looking for content and drama, right? And I've already picked Carrie. So, I mean, there we go. It sucks, but I mean, it's the rules of the game.
Well, I know you're not endorsing him either, but I did see a big advertisement on your page saying, vote Eddie Hamilton for everything. For all things.
That was the name of the episode because Eddie's run for so many things.
I get the joke.
So
let's see. Let's hear from Eddie Hamilton and hear what he had to say. Why we should be voting for Eddie Hamilton. What's going on, everybody? This is John Brookhagen with the Johnny Bru Show. I'm here with Eddie Hamilton and Jesse Law. Eddie, what do you think makes you the right man for the job?
Okay, I'm going to be a very strong leader. I'm not going to be hiding behind a desk. Okay, and we haven't had a meeting for almost a year. Now, what kind of a party is that?
Right.
So my pledge will be, according to the bylaws, we got to have regular meeting. So I'm going to have the meeting short of a nuclear attack. We will have a meeting, even if we have to go to a city park or at the parking lot of Walmart. We'll have a meeting. And being a strong leader, I'm going to be strong in the community. We're going to push for the Trump agenda, and we're not going to be shy about it, and we won't be intimidated by Democrats. And, you know, the party right now, the state party and the county party, there's a lot of bad blood there.
Right, and that's my next question
Yeah.
is, what do you foresee should you be
Okay.
fortunate enough to win between the NVGOP, the CCRP,
Yes.
obviously the Republican, the
Yep.
RNC?
Yes.
What is your vision and what is your method of accomplishing whatever
Okay.
your vision is?
Okay, we got to get rid of the bad blood. You know, we got to check our egos at the door. And as the new chair, I'm going to meet with the chairman of the NVGOP, Michael McDonald, and we're going to hammer out an agreement, written agreement, communicate, not just promises, but it'll be in writing. We're going to be expecting what they should do for us and what we will do for them so we can win elections next year. Now, if we can't agree on something, we're going to delegate that up. And guess what? All the way up to President Trump, because President Trump is the leader of the Republican Party. So we got to have that, but I don't think you're going to get to that point.
Let's hope
I know
not.
Michael McDonald pretty well, so we're going to work out, get rid of that bad blood so there will be no hard feelings. We're going to be working together. So
And then what about, say, Carrie Ann or David
absolutely.
Crete?
We're going to work very hard with that. I'm going to be a strong leader. I'm going to be active in the community. And next year, it's not enough just to knock on doors, and that's not enough. It's not enough to make phone calls, because next year, all the ballots will be mail ballots.
Right, we're going to need our own ballot
You see
harvesters.
what I'm saying? Exactly. So what I'm going to do is all the precinct delegates, I'm going to give them the job of picking up the ballots. So we're going to have an Uber operation, a Lyft operation, a DoorDash operation, because I don't want any Republican ballots to be stranded at home. The estimate last year was that 50,000 to 80,000 Trump ballots were stranded at home.
Gotcha.
They've been voted on, but nobody picked them up. So I'm going to set up a collection box at gun shows. I'm going to have collection box at churches. So we're going to beat the Democrats at their own game.
If
So I'm gonna
can't-
do.
Got you.
Okay.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Nope, I guess I'm going to be coming in and make a strong pitch.
Good.
And we'll take it from there.
All right. Well, it
Thank
was
you,
a
sir.
real
Thank
pleasure
you.
talking
Thank
to
you.
you. So,
Crazy, right? He's crazy. He's insane. Everybody makes fun of the guy. He's a goof, right? I mean, like, sounds like a rational human being.
right, like I said, everybody I ask about, oh, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
And now I got to know him a little bit,
Yeah.
and you know what my response is? He seems like a nice guy.
He's a silly old man who sits in his front of his TV and records things on the TV, and then he rants online, and he's awesome. He's got a great soul, but it's kind of a joke that he runs all the time, and people
Why
make fun
doesn't
of
he
that.
take something more seriously? Like, why doesn't
I think he is taking it
likes,
seriously. It's weird, like how in character he
Like,
stays.
why wouldn't, first of all, like his Facebook profile picture.
Huh?
Any of you who want to go check out Eddie and you look him up, if you see somebody that might be Eddie's grandson, that's him. He's still got his picture from when he's 17 as his Facebook profile
back
picture.
in the day? Yeah.
But I chose this one because I felt like that one actually looked like him.
Yeah, it looks more like him.
You know, he doesn't have any headshots. Alita Benson was just talking about when you want to be a candidate, you want to
Yeah.
have some sort of professionality about you.
Yeah.
Like, for example, you might want to go to YouTube and download the Fox video instead of recording it on your cell phone.
Right, that's what I mean. Like by the old man thing, I don't mean like it's a dig, but like you and I are close to the same age, and we've somehow embraced this advanced technology and gotten ourselves online so we can get our message out and share that platform with other people. We're not trying to hoard it to ourselves.
Well, I got a wife. You
Yeah.
learned how to use technology.
But I mean, this dude Eddie Hamilton is an AM radio kind of dude. He's a kind of recording his TV kind of dude instead of taking a video clip with his phone. It's something you and I would know how to do, or edit it in. That's not what we need as a chair, man. We need somebody.
But if he's been around for 15 years, doesn't he have one person, like a manager or somebody telling him, hey, let's get some headshots or let's get some...
No.
I mean, after 15 years...
His wife used to show up to stuff with him, but as a lot of our wives do, they stop. And so I assume that she just doesn't come to meetings anymore, but he does it, DIY, just like everything else.
I mean,
But
he's definitely a conservative.
Yeah.
He's definitely got the right idea as far as...
loves Donald Trump.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, he's got all the things. We're blessed to have him.
I like him. I just wish we could utilize him.
But when they leave him off the flyer for their thing, it's really discounting him, and it really shows you what they'll do to other people. If you're not accepted, this is a clique.
Right.
And if you're not accepted, if you're
I don't feel like I'm accepted.
No. Yeah, me neither. They've had votes to throw me out that missed by, 4 votes. That's how I met Melissa Carrion, because she says, I don't like you and the things that you write, but they can't vote to throw you out of here.
And that's how I feel about free speech and everything else.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm all about, I hate that I have to keep saying it, but I am for hate speech. Because if you don't defend the speech you don't like, and there's nothing I like less than hate speech.
I've heard you say, and it wraps it up really good for me, it summarizes it really good, I like when stupid people say stupid things so that I can identify them.
Exactly. 100. We wouldn't know Black Lives, if we shut Black Lives Matter up right away, we wouldn't
stuff.
know they're communists.
Please.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Then I go to my wife and go, why'd you bring me over to that racist guy's house? And she's like, what? And I tell her what what the person said. We never end up going there again. And
right. And if you don't know that, how do you separate or who decide?
Because they're free enough to say it, and it's wonderful, right? They say it out loud, and they should always say it loud. Whatever.
And that's one problem I have with some of the things, like, for example, when they're calling certain people racist or anti-Semitic, right?
Yeah.
You take a couple of girls like Natalie Thomas and Brittany Sheehan, who both were named in that lawsuit, are trying to get kicked out of the party.
They're blaming everything on race in that,
but
right? Like the Filipinos.
Right.
Yeah.
But those 2 girls in particular are the most 2 outspoken, honest girls, or people, I shouldn't even say girl, people that I've ever seen online. They wear their heart on their sleeve. And they're trying to act like they're like some sort of closet racist, or did anything wrong when... If either of those 2 girls had something to say, they would say it.
Yeah, it's a tactic du jour to kind of glom onto the racism thing. It's whatever you can do.
I thought that was a progressive thing, though.
It is. We're run by progressives. You know that. All the people that I'm always trying to get rid of, the people say, unity. Why are you doing this? Why are you yelling at these people? Because they're Democrats. They go, why don't you attack Democrats? Why don't you go to the Democrat Party? And I go, because I know what they're going to do. I know what they do. What I'm surprised about is when I joined the Republican Party and you guys do Democrat stuff. So I'm staying here because I adhere to these tenets, but I'm going to keep calling you freaks out. So,
Well, I'm glad to have you. I learn from you all the time. And again, when you say certain things about these people, it goes in the file.
Yeah.
But I still judge people according to my own observations.
Totally. Yeah, I've got my own opinions that I've formed over 14 years. I wrote them up in my blog and then locked my blog down. And
my point is, your opinion carries weight with me. But I'm not going to write somebody off because you wrote somebody off.
No,
I wish people would be able to just think for themselves.
People can change too. People that have burned me may be really cool now.
Right.
Now you get to experience them being kick ass, like maybe you meet Sue Loudon.
And I have a different perspective from you, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been around the block, and in 2030, there's going to be some little whippersnapper, and I'm going to be like, oh my God, I hate this Ccrp stuff, and he's going to be like, no, they're great.
This is so fun. Yeah, it'll just keep happening over and over again. Carrie Buck has got Byron Brooks as her. She said first vice chair. That was weird. We don't have a first vice chair.
Right.
That's a Democrat thing. So
she's, skip to Carrie Buck.
Okay.
She's our finale. Since she's the champion or the favorite, we're gonna go because I'm gonna introduce you to David Crete, because he told me, screw that PAA podcast. I just went to a game.
Yeah.
But anytime the Johnny Bru show wants to talk, I'm your man.
Here we go. The beef.
Play tape.
I love it.
All right, now I'm here with another candidate for the chairman of the Ccrp. This is David Crete. It's nice to meet you, David.
Nice to meet you.
And what do you think is the best reason to vote for David Crete for chairman of the Ccrp?
Well, we have an election this time, and there's good people running. And the issue this time, which is great for the party, isn't that there's good people. But right now there's 2 teams that are out there that are really trying to, not the candidates as much, but kind of the people. It's like, if you're on that team, I don't like you. The question is, are you on Michael McDonald's team? Are you on David Sajak's team?
This is a recurring theme on the Johnny Bru show. We talk about this a lot.
And it's really stupid. I used to chair the party down in Phoenix, which is Maricopa County, which is much larger than Clark County, 3.5 plus, almost 4 million people.
But relative.
Yeah, but it's the same thing where as goes Maricopa County goes Arizona, as goes Clark County goes Nevada. And the problem that we're having is, instead of figuring out who the other side is outside the party, as the last 4 years that I've been involved in the party here, it's always been about who's on the other side within the Republican Party. And we're not going to win elections like that. We're only going to win elections when we realize what the priorities are. We don't have good communication within the party. We can't communicate. For example, last year, we're getting ready for a general election. And in the general election, I got an email in August. I got an email this Sunday before the Tuesday election in November from the party, from the county party, not state party, county party.
Right.
We're not going to win elections if we're not even telling one another what's going on. Forget the fact that we have nothing that's communicating to the regular citizens that pay attention at election time.
Right, and
they have a pet project or issue that gets them, whether like my wife's Cuban, so the Cuba issue right now, that's a big deal in her world. Most days she doesn't care what I have to say, but people are going to get involved when to them it feels important. So when they want to be involved, when they want to know what's going on, there needs to be a message. We don't have one. We don't have a speakers bureau. We don't have anything to support a candidate. I've talked to candidates. I started talking to candidates a few years ago, and their opinion of why would you get back into doing this, because the party offers us nothing, and the party should offer them everything.
Right, should roll downhill.
Maybe not all the big checks, but a candidate should be able to call up and say, I need volunteers on Saturday. Let's meet at the Albertsons at Tenaya and Craig, and I need 25 people. We don't communicate with the affiliate clubs. We don't do all the things we're supposed to do, and I think it's been going on for so long that there isn't anybody that knows what's supposed to be done. And so what I'm trying to bring to the table is I'm not on either team. I'm independent. I'm very conservative, and I know what a well-functioning party looks like. I ran a well-functioning party. When I left party chair down there, we had 1,800 members.
Wow.
I mean, you could go out and kick butt when you've got an army
Manpower.
and not just a little squad running around that can't agree with themselves what time dinner's going to be tonight. And our problems are bigger than that. And it takes, in my opinion, it takes somebody who knows what the team's supposed to be doing. I was a football coach for 26 years. If the coach doesn't know what the hell he's doing, the team's not going to do very good on Friday night.
No matter how much talent you have.
Yeah, I mean, you can have great athletes. We can have great candidates, and we do have great candidates, and we have smart people. But if there's no one steering the ship, it's a wreck. And I'm tired of watching that. I've got kids, I've got grandkids. I've got kids out on the street that are cops. I have 2 kids that are cops for Metro. Man, I want them to have some good leadership, because I'm worried about what could be coming. Not necessarily with the sheriff's race, but just in general. Look at our county commission. It's horrible. And I'm not going to say anybody's bad people, but what comes out of it is not what I want supporting my kids out on the street right now in today's world. And it's going to take a good leader, a good coach, somebody with the experience that knows how to take it in the right direction.
Awesome. You alluded to some of the infighting here, and I've been keeping a close eye on it, and I haven't seen
It's no secret.
you in it. Yeah, and it's no secret. But what is your plan? I mean, the Johnny Bru Show is always talking about whatever happens after the GOP, the NVGOP election, we need to come together. So if you're lucky enough to win, what are you going to do in order to reach out to Jesse Law, to Carrie Ann, who's a great voting record senator in the state of Nevada? How are we going to get everybody to be on the same page and squash all the squabbles of the past few months?
My hope is, first thing, 8 o'clock the morning of the 21st, that we're having a conference call, the 3 of us, and having a real conversation about what we do. Because it's not just Carrie Ann. Carrie Ann's a good lady. She's been a good senator. She's educated. She's smart. Jesse's a hardworking guy who's out there doing. But it's not just the coaches of each team. It's the team, to get them to bring their people to the table. And it's also to go out and get the people who've been stymied from trying to join. There's more people that are disenfranchised former members than there are members. There's more people that are out there that have tried to turn in applications over the 6 months than there are actual members of the committee. We need to bring all those people together, and Carrie Ann and Jesse will be key in making sure that happens.
I mean, I'm not trying to stump for you, but I like what I'm hearing. You know, first of all, you're a football coach. Jesse Law brings something that Carrie Ann does not. Carrie Ann brings something that Jesse Law does not. I mean, Jesse Law is the energy and the fundraiser and the crowd guard, and Carrie Ann is the educated. She knows her ins and outs. She comes from education, and you want to kind of be the football coach.
Yeah, and like Carrie Ann, she's a politician, and I don't use that word as a dirty word,
right?
Because in essence, that's what we all are. But then there's also the person that's the partisan. I've run for public office before. I got that out of my system. I like the partisan. I like going out there and stumping for my team and knocking down doors to make sure my team gets in and win. And that's a little different character. I learned that I mean, you got to be willing to take, big shots, and that's okay, because if it's for the team, and the team is all of the Republicans, to make sure that it's our voice and our message that's out there being heard louder and more clearly than anyone else's. And right now we fail at that. If I'm elected, we won't.
Awesome. David, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I appreciate your time.
All right, so Juggalo, JP.
Are you familiar with that? Can you see that? It's from that Christmas special. I don't know if you can see it. That's Dave Crete.
That's Dave Crete. Yeah, I see it better.
Yeah. He showed up, he says 4 years ago. That's probably true. 2 years ago, he ran against David Sajdak for chair. I saw him being introduced by Dave Gibbs, who runs the Nevada Republican Club. So he's an Air Force veteran. That's great, and he ran Maricopa County, but he's only been here for 4 years, and on and off. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what his motivation is to try and be chair all of a sudden. He hasn't had any other position in the party. I mean, as far as I can tell, he has no sort of technical prowess or ability to lead people. He's just there to be the turd in the punch bowl. I know he's got good ideas, but I got news for you.
And he's got experience.
The Clark County Republican Party is very limited in what it's supposed to do.
Right.
He's got great ideas about bring 25 people to my thing. Great. When it was functioning properly, they promoted the crap out of stuff. We had meetups, we had all kinds of things, and if somebody was motivated about your candidate, they'd show up, or if they wanted to know your candidate, or if a bunch of candidates could get together and do something. And that's something that the party could organize for them, but you can't just make people show up. You can't say, I need 25 people to do Blase Blue. The campaign is responsible for that. Motivate people to come to the Dunkin' Donuts on Saturday, let's go knock on doors in the heat. And if you're good at it, then they show up. Right. And if you can get the party to promote your thing and people show up because the party promoted it, good job.
Well, that's a supplement.
Yeah. It's just a conduit to bring people to you. But you can't just call up and order 25 people and have Dave Crete magically manifest 25 people.
Right, but I mean, just hypothetically, one person is Carrie Buck, who is a freshman senator.
Yeah.
She's never run she's never run a county party.
She hasn't been involved either until she decided to run. I haven't seen her at any meetings.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at least Dave Crete has some experience with, I'm guessing Jesse Law has experience with the state party, I'm guessing, since...
And the county party. He's been involved with the county party through different chairs and things like that.
We've always Dave Crete has got county party experience, even though maybe Maricopa.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they did a pretty good job when he was there.
So we got a whole different set of characters than Maricopa. And if you feel like you can learn the characters and the drama and everything so that you can sort of work with people. See, there's this guy named Michael McDonald who a lot of people like and shouldn't. The Ron Paul people shouldn't, but we do, because he came to us and he's never stabbed us in the back. So if you're willing to spend the time, stick around, and unite those kind of factions and learn who they are, their personalities, and what drives them, then you can be a uniter. I don't think 4 years, kinda dipping in and out, I don't think that qualifies. And same with Carrie. I mean, but I think she's attractive and she's a state senator. And like I said, I pre-endorsed her. So I really screwed the pooch.
You're really sticking with that. My point, I mean, I got nothing against Carrie Ann. I'm just trying to be devil's advocate. Whatever you say, if you love Dave Crete, I'd be telling you why you should. And if you don't like him, I'm trying to tell you why you should. I'm trying to elicit some stuff from you. But my impression is Eddie Hamilton, no chance?
No, nobody will vote for him. Nobody
Crete.
I wish Eddie would bail, and I wish Dave would bail and just let us have the real match. You know what I mean? If you're a wrestling guy, these two jabronis, they need to get broke off before they make it to the ring.
Right.
And then we need to see Carrie Buck versus Jesse Law for the title.
Right. We don't need Biden, Trump, and Cruz.
That's interference. You know what I mean? Somebody loses because somebody grabs somebody's foot. Man, I spit it. It gets corny because like people go, well, if Dave hadn't been in it, I'd have voted for Jesse. And you go,
right. And then everybody with the what ifs, why
there's all kinds of
for Ross
scenarios.
Perot, man? It changed the whole world.
Yeah, you look at these four numbers.
It's all because of Ross Perot.
Yeah. I mean, and sometimes in this party, that's the fun thing about it. Votes have come down to one vote. I've swung a decision because I'm like, don't like it. My friends are like, no, you got to vote for it. And I'm like, watch me not. And then they call out the count, and they're like, you dick.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, it's that tight.
And you're such a shit stirrer. You get so proud.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When they've had not a vote, they had a vote for, and they had an election, and there was a lady who didn't show up, and she got 1 vote. And I was in the back of the room just jumping. I was like, I voted for her. They're like, you're an idiot. She was not even here. I'm like, whatever. We're going to have fun.
Yeah.
Saturday, we're going to have fun. Tuesday, we're going to have fun. I'm going to be exhausted. I took Wednesday off.
I was thinking of taking Saturday off because I just got all my interviews and.
Yeah.
But the more I hear about Saturday, the more I'm thinking I might have to duck my head in.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Stoney's is awesome.
Yeah, well, I've been to Stoney's before. You ever been to Stoney's?
It's great.
You want to go? They're having a thing on tomorrow night.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. They're rocking country. Stoney's rocking country.
I can't bring my producer either. So
you know how to line dance? You do? You want to go? All right, so I'm not going to tell you guys what she said. You guys could try to figure it out for yourself.
So you're Dave Crete guy.
No. But I will say, first of all, I'm not going to vote. I can, because I went to the November meeting.
Yeah.
So I'll have been at the 2 meetings in a row, which is crazy to think that I went to 1 meeting in November, and this is the 2nd meeting. So I am one of the few people who are eligible to vote.
Because they changed the rules. Yeah, it used to be go to 2 meetings and then vote at the next one. So it's actually a three meeting process, but they changed that to bring in.
The 2nd meeting could be.
Yeah, it was when Derek Uhara ran for vice chair. It was like he hasn't been to enough meetings, and they're like, no, this is his 2nd meeting, and he's already running for vice chair. It's staged act.
Should I throw my hat in the ring?
It's too late. You have to nominate by
within 72 hours.
It was by the 13th. You had to nominate. But if we get there and there's no one running in a race, then you can. But I know there's already people running in B and D for trustee. I've been to e-board meetings. If I get on the trustee board as a trustee, they can't kick me out. Hopefully. So
that's your in.
Right. So even if somebody that you don't like gets elected, vote for me in District B, and then I'm in there to keep them accountable.
Can I abstain from voting except for voting for you?
Yeah, it's a normal
voting. I
voting.
can vote for just one person?
Yeah, it's a voting machine. If you're in B, I don't think you're in B, are you? You don't
no, I live in
North Las
Summerlin.
Vegas. Yeah, North Las Vegas.
No.
Yeah. So it's all good.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So we saved the prohibitive favorite for last, and I only call her the prohibitive favorite because the Juggalo Patriot is endorsing her, so she must be the favorite.
Man, sorry, I kicked the
Easy.
table. Yeah, I got excited.
Easy.
She's got this, right? Yeah.
That was your knee, right?
It was my foot.
I don't want you to get too excited.
Yeah, she's. I do have a concern though, because one of the main things to do when you're the chair of the central committee or the party is to raise money for that organization. And as far as I can tell so far, she's beholden to Pinecrest Academy, the Nevada Senate Republican Caucus, I believe that's how you say it, Carrie Buck for state senate, that campaign, and if she gets elected, the Clark County Republican Party. So far, 4 things that she's obligated to raise money for. And I just have this stupid skit.
That makes it hard.
It's way too long of her. And I just heard that she has been 86 from Ahern, so she won't be able to raise money from Don Ahern. This is a rumor I've heard.
Why would that happen?
I don't know. Sajdak got tossed because he stepped.
So if you're a Proud Boy adjacent, you get knocked out of the Ccrp. If you're Sajdak adjacent, you get kicked out of the Ahern.
Yeah,
I'm just learning here, everybody, along with you.
Well, Don's the money guy, so if you piss him off, and he tells you can't come into his casino anymore, you can't come into his casino anymore. So that sucks. But I imagine her going to Don and saying, hey, can you fund Pinecrest? And he goes, sure. And he writes a check, and then she walks out, and then she walks back in. He's like,
didn't I just see you?
Yeah, can you? And he's got to write $40,000 and $10,000 checks. Maybe by the time she gets to the Ccrp, he's a little tired.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, if you find out, hey, I got to connect at a golf club, they'll let me rent the golf club for free as a donation.
Yeah.
Who are you going to let the proceeds go to? Then you have to decide, am I going to do it for my campaign? Am I going to do it for the Ccrp? Are you going to do it for the Pinecrest Foundation? I mean, me personally, I like Carrie Buck. She, she, before I even started the Johnny Bru show, she was an active member of the community, and her voting record in the Senate makes me like her. I know some people don't like some of her mask or vaccination.
She said a weird thing about not buying Chinese organs. That drove me nuts, because I tried to correct her on that. I was like, sweetheart. I didn't call her sweetheart, but I felt it in.
That's very...
I'm Southern, you know what I mean? It's a sweetie.
Right. Me too. I call a girl sweetheart too. But
but in my head I'm thinking sweetie. But I'm because it sounded simple. I said, don't buy any organs. And she doubled down on it. Yeah, but especially Chinese ones. And I was like, are you being a troll? Are you trying to be funny? Because
when was this?
It was a post that she made about someone who came to the state Senate and had a presentation for her coming out against buying Chinese organs. That explained to her that the consumers of Chinese organs are Muslims from the Muslim world who need halal organs. They are the ones that are harvesting these Uyghur Muslims. It's not us. Unless Carrie Buck has a connect and she's saying don't buy Chinese organs, don't buy any organs. You're
Right,
not supposed
can we
to
buy
you can't buy
Mexican organs?
You can't buy, right, that's what I said. And it didn't get through to her. And I was like, this is weird, which is kind of hot to me. She looks good as a blonde and she's kind of dopey. So that makes me like glad that I endorse her. She's going to be at the front of the room and she's not bad to look at.
Boy, somebody's got a crush. Holy
Yeah,
cow. That's the third time in the past 30 seconds he said how pretty she is. But sometimes she gets on a subject and she gets like a rabid dog. Like she's like focused on that one thing almost to like all the infighting that's going on now, she gets a little bit defensive and she like gets like laser focused on one thing and almost
my interview with her was not great, and all she kept talking about was like trying to bring Republicans to the Senate because she felt alone, didn't have people to back her up, which is something that's good. That's a good thing.
Right. Well, you sound like you saw the interview already.
Well, I heard you saying something about it earlier, but that is something that she mentioned, was that she felt alone and wanted to recruit more people, and that's great. She should do that, but not as the chair. It's a bad idea.
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah. What's wrong?
You just said it's a bad idea as chair, but you're endorsing her.
Yeah.
Are you a troll?
No, I mean, I've already endorsed her, and I like her. People pick terrible chairs. Do you know what I mean? We knowing full well the information that we have ahead of time, we've still picked a spousal abuser and someone that picks up prostitutes. So me endorsing somebody who's a little flighty, she's a state
Doesn't
senator.
wear a mask.
Whatever. You know what I mean? She's pretty...
Get vaccinated, go back
She's
to
going
work.
to say more crazy stuff, more funny stuff. Ralston's going to have fun. There's going to be content. It seems like what we've always been about is absurdity. So let's just stick with it. Not, elect a grown-up. I know you want a grown-up.
Yeah, so bad. I just want to turn Nevada red.
Sure.
Bad.
Maybe we can get a couple of years of a grown-up so that you can appreciate the person that comes behind the grown-up and gets rid of all the money that the grown-up raised and totally wipes the slate clean again. Because that's fun.
This is Carrie Buck 2 nights ago with her pitch why she should be the Ccrp or the Ccrcc.
Sure, yeah. Running late, Carrie Buck.
So this is John Brookhagen with Carrie Buck, the fourth and final, as far as I know, the fourth and final candidate for chairwoman. Do you mind, chairman? The chairwoman or chairperson of the Clark County Republican Party. The same question I asked everybody: what makes you believe you're the best person for the job?
Well, I won my race in a -6 district. I am the only senator in Nevada state history to have 2 Democrats nestled in their Senate district. And so for me to be able to pull that off, I know that I can do that and help candidates in other districts that are swing seats.
Or at least within 10 points?
Yes. So I was a -6 and still pulled it off. And it was very strategic. It was very, it was precinct development and teams walking. And so I know that I can help candidates so that we can win back the majority in the Senate and hopefully the Assembly. It comes down to, quality candidates that can win and get that message out. And so when you say, well, why did 2 Democrats win underneath me when I was able to win my state Senate race? It was campaign. It had to be campaign because there's nothing really special about me aside from I was able to win. I
wouldn't say that.
I have organizational leadership that takes and looks at root problems and then works to fix them.
All right. And then my other question that I've asked everybody is, people have been fighting like cats and dogs within the party. And, as I said before, like Jesse Law brings a lot of energy. You bring a lot of experience and education. Even David Crete brings a lot of experience and organizational on the party side. And even Eddie Hamilton, he's got his pluses.
Right.
What is your plan to bring the party back together, not only after the Ccrp, but after the NVGOP election is over come September? What is your plan to bring the party together?
No Republican is my enemy. I'm for taking our governor out of his seat. He is my enemy. And I was able to serve up in Carson City this past session and realize that the governor's seat is crucial. They lay out the agenda, they decide the budget and everything. And so without that seat, we have nothing if we have no majority in the Senate or the Assembly. The Senate and the Assembly, if we have the majority there, we're able to hear our bills. We're able to not hear theirs, which is exactly what they did to us. And so it's key that we take back our state. We're losing our state while there's all this infighting going on. I don't want infighting. I want us all to be on the same team, and that is taking out the governor out of his seat and winning back the majorities. That's going to be my focus. It's going to be a focus win, lose, or draw. Whoops, as I just lost my earring, but it's going to be a focus win, lose, or draw. And so I look forward to working with, the state, whoever's in charge of the state, to take him out of his seat. He has decimated, Ccrcc has decimated our economy. He's, basically ruined our state. And now we have to suffer the repercussions of this. And so I'm hoping to put together the best plan and bring on the smartest and brightest people who have run organizations and, are able to implement and execute.
So
and
if you were to
that's just
win,
what I've done.
If you were to win, would one of your first things be to reach out to Jesse Law to become part of the team and David Crete to become part of the team and use them and their skill set?
Absolutely. So it comes down to no enemy in the Republican side is my enemy.
Good.
And so I'm a sitting senator, and to do this, it's because I don't want to go back up there and
Go through what you just went through.
I don't want to back up there and be in the minority. I had 32,000 people vote for me in my district. I'm so grateful and honored to serve in that seat and make a difference, a positive difference for everyone. But here's the thing, if every single Republican voted for a governor, we would still lose. We have to be very cognizant of voter registrations and make sure that we are taking care of that so that we don't lose sight of that and so that we're running our campaigns appropriately to take back seats.
And my last question is, with the new voting laws, they were supposed to be Corona only, and now they're turning into we're going to mail everybody 12 ballots. Do we have a chance to win?
That's what happens when you're not in the majority, people. We have to focus all of our energy on the Democrats, not on each other. That's what happens. When we don't take back the majority, we lose our state. We lose our voter ID rights. We lose everything. And that's why I'm so impassioned about trying to be a positive influence and trying to really be the face of integrity and character in this party that, that really can make a difference. That's really why I'm here.
Awesome, Carrie. So there you go. There's your girlfriend.
She's falling apart. I'm concerned. The hair was a mess. The body language.
You said you're sticking with the endorsement.
Well, but I also care about Carrie because I'm endorsing her and I want her to be okay. And I don't want anything bad to happen to her, like on the real. It seems like she's under a lot of stress. I know people are pushing her to do this. She's got a lot of irons in the fire. We've been over that.
Right.
This is hurting her physically, mentally. She doesn't seem like she's all there. She doesn't seem like she's all together. She got there late. Her hair's a mess. And I don't know. It just seemed like she was a little bit off. I hope she's okay.
Is the hair thing going to be a problem for you?
No, but it looks like maybe she was taking a nap in the car or something, and then somebody didn't look out for her and fix it.
Well, she was by herself. She didn't have a team.
A giant notebook of props, and
She had Ccrc's picture.
yeah.
Oh,
and
do you like that picture better?
Strange body. I like the blonde picture, but strange body language where she's leaning away from you and guarding herself, shielding herself from you. I don't know why she's afraid of you.
She did even take a step back from me while I was doing the interview.
Well, you did steal her jewelry too. So
Well, I was just holding her earring hostage, so she had to hear my last question. You see, you got to pick up these journalistic nuggets that I'm teaching you.
Yeah, I'm bad at that. I'm not a journalist. I go
Right.
after journalists too, but yeah, I've done that. And
So I mean, she has a great grasp of the obvious.
yeah,
I mean, we need the majority in order to have our bills heard.
yeah.
I mean, but I'm saying, how are we going to do it?
It's frustrating to be up there and not have a majority or not have more people on your side. Those, well, let's see. There's a handful of jerks that voted for the mining tax, even though we're flush with cash. There's a bunch of people that vote as rhinos. Chuck Muth will point them out to you and break down who's
Muth's
who.
truths.
And Carrie's great. She's conservative, right? But she doesn't want to infight, so she's not going to call out these senators that voted for the mining tax because they're Republican.
Well, first of all, she keeps talking about returning to her record. Look at her record.
Yeah.
Annie Black is ready to call anybody out that doesn't vote the right way.
Right.
You're saying Carrie Ann doesn't have that in her. Because, I mean, Carrie Ann's calling out Jesse Law and...
She's voting correctly, but she's not calling out the people in her own building. You know
But
what I
you're
mean?
saying she doesn't have the gumption to stand up. But meanwhile, this past couple of weeks, she's been hammering Jesse Law about, rumors going
on the internet.
around. And this
On the
and that.
internet. What does Ian Bain say about her? I mean, I hate that he emphasizes the A in her name. My middle initial is A too. So
Right.
what does it stand for?
My son's middle initial is
stands
A.
for Alan Ian. It's a normal name, and I'm sure Carrie Ann Buck. But
Right.
Ian
Bain also likes her badge.
Yeah, he likes her badge. But yeah, I forgot what I was going to say what he says about her, but yeah, it was something that he's on point with. I completely lost my thought.
But I mean, obviously Ian is all about the mask stuff. So every time Carrie has a picture with the mask on, or she's saying get vaccinated and wear a mask, go back to work like the rest of us, Ian Bain is definitely not a fan.
No, and yeah, I get it, because yeah, she's not the kind of Republican that calls people out. And I mean, she's going along to get along. She doesn't want to fight, and that's too bad because this is a fight.
So somebody like me,
Yeah.
that wants unity, that really, really, really wants everything to work out. You've pretty much said that ship has sailed and you're in it for the popcorn.
Yeah.
But who should I want to win? Again, I'm not going to be voting in it, even though I'm eligible.
Jesse, the adult, the experienced adult who's worked with the campaign, who can work with Michael, who can work with the Trump campaign. Everything goes smooth. The meetings all start at 7 o'clock. We're out of there by 8:30. We're standing around shaking hands and drinking a beer in a casino because we're having nice meetings in nice places because we got money.
People like
wanna
each other.
Show up. They don't, but you can get together and we can hash it out through parliamentary procedure like proper nerds. Or we can do it online too. Yeah, that's what Ian Bain calls her, the mean girl. Mean Girls. I've never seen the movie, but I get it. That's her. She's frazzled. She's got a notebook. It's full of, what's the burn list or whatever? What was I never seen Mean Girls.
I don't.
So there's a book. That's
I know
full
the
of,
premise.
there's a book full of all the girls that are, and
Not
then
in the
what did she
clique.
pull out? Ccrcc. And she's.
You think she's got Jesse
nailed-
Law in there?
Ian has nailed it.
Does she have Jesse Law in there?
Right? There's probably a Jesse Law. She's probably
Rudy Cly in case he shows up.
You want Eddie Hamilton? I got an Eddie. You know what I mean? She's got them all. She's probably got her photo with her being blonde, wearing denim. Yeah, I mean, she's a mean girl. Ian nailed her. So Jesse, all the way. If you want an adult that's just going to run the meetings.
And what does it look like if Crete wins? Does he have a chance? Does he have a snowball's chance in hell?
Yeah, he is a snowball, but unenthusiastic. He's not. He's going to be an absentee landlord. He's not going to organize good people. He doesn't have a slate. He doesn't have names that we can look at and say, I know that person, know that person, know that person. It's just him. I don't know why he's doing it.
Yeah, he said I'd work with anyone. I asked him about the slate. He said, no, it's just me. I'm running.
Goofosaurus, man. He's there to ruin the thing, I think. Some of these trolls like me, I wink at the camera, right? I can't do it. I got to tear down the fourth wall and I got to tell people my secrets. And then they go, really? And I go, yeah. But some of these trolls never drop character, and he's one of them. He's this stupid beard and the things that he said in your interview are word for word the same things he says when he was doing his podcast. That's kind of my fun, is listening to somebody's podcast that says the same shit every week.
Right.
I like yours. You change.
Right.
I mean, I change.
Right.
And Dave talked about the Federalist Papers, talked about Mezzo, talked about his kids that are cops. His wife's Cuban. I know all this stuff. I know the guy.
Right, because of the podcast.
It's been drilled into my head. But then he dips because he's got some guys trying to shake him down for $350 an episode, which makes me think he was paying less before. And if you're paying to do this sort of thing that Johnny and I do, any sort of like large sum besides your internet access and some equipment,
Right.
You're an idiot. If you're paying somebody to produce your stuff,
Unless you're Tucker Carlson or you got some sort of nice,
If
beautiful
you got the
set.
income coming in, if you're selling
Right.
merch, if
Right.
you're doing ads, add a body. I can't wait to add a body one day. I can relax. You know what I mean? But Dave just couldn't do it. He was paying somebody. That's not a conservative.
Right.
We can do stuff for free for the party. If the party came to me, if
Well,
Jesse
that's
came
kind
to
of
me,
like
if
the
Carrie
whole
came
Richard
to me,
McLean thing.
dude, they did 2 episodes on their YouTube channel, Richard McLean, this guy, and Ed Gonzalez, and they looked like ass. You know what I mean? Like I cut them apart.
Worse than Matt and Rudy?
Terrible. Worse. Yeah. They were terrible. Just poor angles and bad lighting and 2 people, you know. And I'm like, come to me. I'll tell you how to do it. I'm not going to do it for you.
Right.
I'll totally tell you how to do it. You'll tell them how to do it.
Right.
Michelle will tell them how to do it. Mortensen, you know, like they don't want us. They don't want that help. They just want to be non-existent. I think Dave Crete would do that. We would have no presence anywhere. He says he would. He'd make a phone call, 25 people. Nah, I don't think so.
Right.
So he doesn't have those kind of roots here.
Right, he doesn't have the connections. I mean, just like I would never be able to do it myself. Even though I'm a rah-rah guy, I could probably get people to show up on a street corner if I had to.
Yeah.
But I don't have the connections.
No,
I just don't.
I burn bridges. He has no bridges. I don't
Right.
think. So,
Right, at least you once had a bridge.
I built some and then, right
Flame on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't you tell everybody where they can find your podcast? Because I'm the #1 podcast in Nevada,
Right.
conservative.
So, PAA Podcast. We are a free speech organization. #1 conservative podcast in Nevada. You can find us. Just type in PAA Podcast on anything. BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, YouTube, Facebook. We're on Twitter, but I rarely use it. You know, just I get blocked on stuff, so I don't really. I have other accounts where I watch stuff and then I don't do anything. I've got stuff that goes, way back. There's a dude named Chuck Farley from I Love Rand Paul. So if you look up I Love Rand Paul on YouTube, you'll find Chuck's videos. He's part of the show sometimes. I got a whole cast of characters. I'm even thinking about integrating puppets into the thing.
I'm sure that's what everybody's dying to see. I'm sure. But do you have 14 years worth of material on the PAA Podcast YouTube?
That's what I'm saying. Some of it is on my Chris Dyer channel where I review liquor stuff and older stuff in there. It's all out there. But yeah, PAA Podcast and I Love Rand Paul. Those are 2 channels that I've worked on before. Back when Rand was running for president, we had a big run there of videos.
Well, I'm sure anything you want, Chris Dyer, Juggalo, Patriot, PAA Podcast. If you know how to use an internet search engine, I have a feeling you'll have no problem finding it. Please, let us know what you think in the comments. I need to keep reminding you guys, I keep forgetting, you have to subscribe. Why is it so hard to get YouTube subscribers? Except for, I'll see people with less views than me that have 15,000 subscribers.
There's a guy running for Senate, like Tom Roberts or something like that.
Yeah, no, Heck.
Yes, Heck.
He's
Tom
going to be
Heck.
on the show in 2 weeks.
So ask him about that because that's bunk. Because he's got 54,000 views and 3 comments or a couple of likes. It's ridiculous. He bought them, obviously. So if you and I aren't buying them, we're going to get them organically. We got to grind for them.
But I don't want to buy them because I want it to be real.
Yeah,
I want to know how
too.
many people are watching.
Yeah, me too.
Mike.
So subscribe, like the video, please.
Please.
You can beg. I don't want people to subscribe and like my stuff. I got jerks in the comments. I got enough subscribers. Mike Colian is a thorn in my side. And,
Well, I've got just about 1,000 on the Johnny Bru Show on Facebook. I need that on YouTube.
That's good. That's good stuff. So you're getting more views than me, so that's good. So you'll bring more eyes to my stuff. PAA Podcast.
That's the idea. Well, guys, I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed, but on the Johnny Bru Show fan page, on the Common Sense Nevada Facebook group, I post all of Ian Bain's stuff. I post all of the PAA podcast stuff. I post most of the Michelle Mortensen stuff. And every time Carrie Ann, Jesse Law, Eddie Howe, anytime any of them post something that doesn't say something bad about another Republican, I also post it on my page. I just don't post any of the mudslinging because I'm trying to unite the Republican Party.
So if people go to the YouTube channel right now, they'll see a video. I don't think you saw it yet, but my dad called me as I was getting ready to come over. So
I've been busy.
We actually sang a duet. I don't want to spoil it. So go to the YouTube channel. It's a short video. It's 5 minutes long. But
PAA Shorts.
Yeah, just like EA Sports. But yeah, that's what I was trying to get with that. So yeah, you dig it.
Oh, well, there you go, guys. I mean, I hope this wasn't too droll. I tried to keep the Juggalo Patriot moving. I think we got a lot of good information out of him, a lot of history. I learned something.
I'm going to watch it back and I'm going to learn something. I'm going to be like, I did not know that about myself.
Well, you know, when I do these things, I don't even remember what I said.
Mm-hmm.
I have to watch it to make sure I didn't say something really stupid that I have to.
That's part of making content and being crazy is you get to watch it back and be like, oh, that's all new to me.
And this is my heart on my sleeve. I got nothing to hide. I'm unabashedly conservative. I try to be logical and unbiased with a bent towards loving my country.
Yeah,
If
or
that
you can
makes
stare
me
at
an
a camera
extremist.
for an hour too. If you want to just be an artist, you know what I mean? Just stare at the camera for an hour and turn it off when you're done. Or you can.
It's art.
Yeah.
It's
But
art.
I mean, no, well, you take it more technically. You have a very strict set of rules and guidelines and morality that you're using, so that's good.
I'm trying, but after 14 years, I might be in the gutter with this guy. I want to thank you for finally coming on.
Right on.
I hope you like the studio.
Yeah, it's great.
You let me come on your show. I'm glad you came here. You're welcome to come anytime.
Sweet.
Just not every week.
Yeah. You got a big plate of stuff to eat.
And I got a
Yeah.
lot of great guests coming on. I love when you talk about the show on your show. We're always talking about your show, so I really appreciate the not the partnership, but the camaraderie.
Yeah.
And
we're in the same space, and we need to promote each other. There's plenty of room for the Michelles and yous and
there
I's.
sure is.
and the
You can be a
Ians.
fan of Hannity and
Yeah.
Tucker. You can
Yeah.
be a fan of the PAA Podcast and the Johnny Bru Show.
Yep.
All right. This was brought to you by themathinstitute.com. Call 768-1777 for all of your math tutoring needs from ages 5 to 50 and beyond. You're a teacher. You need help with the praxis too. You got it. You're a kid. You want to get a perfect score on the SAT. You got it. You're a 5th grader getting ready for middle school. We got you covered. themathinstitute.com. Thanks again to the PAA Podcast, Chris Dyer, the Juggalo Patriot, and all the Daves out there.
Oh, yeah.
My name is John Brookhagen. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you real soon on The Johnny Bru Show.